So much happening on this Thursday as we welcome you to hour number 2 live right here on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. Just because we get a little heated at the end of 1 hour does not mean it will carry over to hour number 2, or maybe it does. You never know. But DRS, we get the people excited, not just for the Sweet 16 and a return to action in the 2025 men's NCAA tournament. This second hour dedicated to opening day in full around Major League Baseball. Yes, the season officially underway as of last week with the 2-game set in Tokyo between the Dodgers and the Cubs. But today, it starts for basically everybody. The Rays and the Rockies wait until Friday, but 28 of 30 MLB clubs in action. We've got 14 games, with 11 of those 14 starting at either 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Eastern before we get into the night slate for the NCAA tournament. So much to get you ready for opening day, but not just opening day around the Bigs, DRS, the entirety of this long 162-game season in Major League Baseball.
I feel like we made it now, right? Because football for me, NFL football is such a passion. Just like everybody loves it. The Super Bowl's there, and these sort of decompress. But we understand we have, college basketball to carry us through the month of March and early April. But it just feels like when baseball is here, you have that long grind now, late March all the way through to early November next year. And the best part about it, it's like an NFL slate, Ben, every single day that starts today. You see the lineups. You're going to see the home run videos. I'm going to have my notifications on my phone that beeps into vibrates into my watch, where it's like, ooh, run scored at this point, home run scored here, bet cashes at this point. I love it. It'll be so much fun to watch. I'm a Phillies fan. I enjoy the ride all the way through the summer. So for me, that long poker journey starts today, and we made it, and it just feels great.
It is always a very exciting thing to get ready for opening day. Yeah. It feels like the start of a new season, not just in baseball, but in the weather outside. You can see spring on the horizon, summer right around the corner. There is the nostalgia, the tradition, the pageantry of Major League Baseball, America's pastime, of course. So it is always a great time to get started in opening day. Does it lose a little bit of its luster in late April into May as we have other things going on? Sure. Will there be a lot of attention on it back in the summer months? Absolutely. Nothing better than a beer, a dog, and taking in a baseball game. We'll get you set for opening day around MLB, but we do so first, the RS, with that big picture perspective for this 2025 campaign. We will go through our preseason Major League Baseball on opening day pick 6. Our World Series champ, our favorite pennant bet, a win total to the over or under, but we both went over. An award that we like could be MVP, Cy Young, Manager of the Year, maybe even a different one, home run leader around MLB, and will Paul Skenes, the prince that was promised in Pittsburgh, throw a true no-hitter this year in his second year in the Bigs in 2025. DRS, let's start at the very top. At the end of 162 games, at the end of a long postseason month in October, even extending into early November, who is winning a World Series in the 2025 MLB season?
Yeah, it's pretty simple, and most people are going to have this, and it's not even price point appropriate, but it doesn't matter. If it's going to win, it's going to cash a ticket, and I'm not just going to take a flyer on a team down the list or a team that I like. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers, because on a day-to-day basis for them to open the season, they're the best team, the best lineup, the best starting pitching staff, and the best bullpen. We talk about the NFL, Ben, so many times, or football in general. What do you have to win? Hey, 2 out of the 3, offense, defense, and special teams. Every single day, the Dodgers will win all 3 of those 99% of the time. And here's the best part about the Dodgers as well, which I've told you many times, Ben. This Dodgers team that you see on opening day, oh my goodness. Look at all the talent on that roster. It's ridiculous. Wait till the deadline when they had 2 more All-Stars on top of it, and then continue for their playoff push at the end of the season. Everything works for the Dodgers. They are the favorites. They are the public favorites. They are the price point favorites at the FanDuel Sportsbook, and they should be, and by a wide margin. The Dodgers, by far, are the best team in baseball right now, and even if they lose 2 or 3 starters to injury, they will replenish that at the trade deadline. It's unfair as it might be. I'm taking the Dodgers.
As they did last year, DRS, who started game number 1 in the World Series for L.A.? Was it Tyler Glasnow? Was it Shohei Ohtani? No, it was Jack Flaherty, a guy they acquired at the All-Star break or around that trade deadline, because of the injuries to the starting staff. Who do they add this offseason? Well, Glasnow should be back. Blake Snell is now there. And Shohei Ohtani should be on the bump, mixed in with Roki Sasaki, who was the prize recruit all around MLB. And we're not even talking about guys like Dustin May returning to the starting staff for LA as well. It is a plethora of riches, an embarrassment of wealth for LA. And Donnie, it's not a great bet at plus 240 right here, right now, before 162 games to cash that ticket in early November. But I don't think that's going to be the number by the time we get to early November. So maybe from that perspective, it is a good bet at plus 240. You could make an argument for every other team in that list, and I would hear it, just from a value handicapping perspective. You could tell me this 4-digit price is the better number. There's no doubt about it. That's not a good number on the Dodgers. Donnie and I are not being sharp because we are betting on the very short World Series favorites. I just find it a hard time to believe the Dodgers will not be there at the end of the road. So much can happen. 62 games. Injuries can creep up, bad play can creep up, and even by the time you get to October, it can be a couple of bad nights and a 5-game set in the NLDS that erases the World Series favorites. We understand all of that. But at the end of the day, Donnie, who's going to be there in a World Series? To me, the Dodgers are an absolute must. So I don't think it's a bad bet at plus 240 to look at that price and expect the Dodgers to be a World Series champion when this very long MLB season is said and done.
No, it's like buying a bond, right? You say, you know what? Hey, I don't want to tie this money up, but it's almost guaranteed money when it comes through on the other side, which you have to wait 7, 8, 9 months to get that payback. But if it's worth your while, so be it. Just like we talked about that Giants team total yesterday. Hey, why would you lay out that money for that long a period and only get back minus 130 on the actual juice? Well, because it's like a savings bond. Put that away, recover it in a couple months, and away you go at this point. The Los Angeles Dodgers are so deep and talented. And again, it's just the aspect of sometimes teams have weaknesses. Like the Dodgers had a weakness with their starting pitching staff and still won the World Series. How do they fortify that with the estimated opening day lineup, which has like 5 all-stars just in their starting lineup alone? And as you said, crazy. If you look at the IL pending for some of those pitchers, there's 5 or 6 major league pitchers waiting to get back to this roster who won't even find themselves on the active roster because the roster is too good at this point. As the word you used, an embarrassment of riches is correct here. We would all be shocked if the Dodgers are not winning the World Series.
And you have guys like Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and up and down the roster from the 1 through 9. It's incredible. And then you have guys perform like Kike Hernandez and Tommy Edman who are in consideration for World Series MVP. It is truly just insane. So, Donnie, if we are backing the Dodgers at a short price, I assume then we look at the other side of things for what that pennant best bet is. Where do you look for that best price?
Yeah, obviously, we just talked about how much we love the Dodgers. So there's no best price on, hey, you know what, I think the Dodgers are going to win it, but the best pennant odds are somebody else in the National League, whether it be the Phillies, the Mets, and the Braves. We're not doing that here. So I'm going to go out to the AL West, and I'm going to take a look at the Texas Rangers because why? I think the AL is up for grabs. So I think the Yankees are a good team, yes, but they're already injured. But just to keep it simple for me, that lineup, Simeon, Seager, Langford, Peterson, Garcia, Jung, Tavares, Berger, and Heim, they are going to hit, continue to hit, and do it all summer. They just need that pitching staff to stay somewhat healthy. They'll be in the mix for me. It's the Rangers with the pennant, the American League, 8-1 price.
I think it's a really good point, DRS. We'll continue to break down the American League and our MLB 2025 Pick 6 up next. It is opening day once again in Major League Baseball. To begin the 2025 campaign, we give you our Pick 6, looking very big picture at the entirety of 162 games and then some into October and early November. Both of us selected the Dodgers to win a World Series. It's not a sharp play. It's not anything uncommon. It's a plus 240 price on LA to win a World Series, but we just find it hard to find a way for LA not to be there at the pinnacle of the sport for a second consecutive year, which means if we're looking at a pennant price, the value could be in the National League. You could say bet the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets, anybody, the Cubbies to win an NL pennant to try to get that value toward the end of the road against the Dodgers, but that can't be where we go. Both looking at the American League. DRS went with the Rangers at an 8-1 price. Donnie, I'm surprised you did not go with the Boston Red Sox, and it should be made a distinction atop those AL pennant prices. All the 3 best numbers hail from the same division in the AL East. The Yanks still the favorites. The O's at plus 650. The Red Sox at plus 750. I feel like Boston, those in Fenway this year, that's your American League team in 2025.
It is, and I do like them, and I'm going to bet them a lot on a day-to-day basis with the RBI props. I love the way that lineup is. The reason I went with the Rangers as opposed to taking the Boston Red Sox was the division they play in. I think it's much more manageable for me to get a win for the Rangers in the division. And you might say, well, Donnie, that doesn't mean pennant, but it means you get home field advantage in that first round. If I'm vying against the Yankees and the Orioles, where I might be a wild card team, it's just a tougher path to win the actual pennant. So that was my thought process behind it. I do like the Red Sox a lot. I just think the path might be a little bit easier come playoff time for the Rangers than it would be for a wild card team, which might be the Boston Red Sox.
It's a good point. The Yankees are still the favorites, but of course the big story for New York, it is not Gerrit Cole getting the start today to throw out that first pitch for the Yanks in our first pitch of opening day. It's Carlos Rodon. Cole out for the entirety of this season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. My pennant pick in the American League, the Detroit Tigers at a 10-1 number. I believe in Tarek Skubal. I believe in the addition of Jack Flaherty back in the Motor City. I believe in this young Tigers roster led by A.J. Hinch that got the playoff experience a year ago. Their first time in the postseason since 2014. Their first playoff win in over a decade as well. Hosting a playoff game inside Comerica Park in Detroit. That was news alone. You have that experience, and now you get from that DRS valuable growth. I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers to win the American League pennant at a 10-1 price. It has been a long time since even a team from the American League Central has won the pennant in the AL. Since 2016, when Cleveland did so to take on the Cubbies in a World Series. I'm going to back the Detroit Tigers at a price that I like, a 10-1 number.
It's not a bad price, too, because as we take a look at the American League, which we both went as opposed to the National League, I do believe it's wide open and a lot of teams can win. And once you do get to the playoffs, you're only as good sometimes as your first 1-2 punch. And the Detroit Tigers got a good 1-2 punch, which includes maybe the best punch in Major League Baseball. And Tarek Skubal is going to tangle today with Blake Snell, with two of the best lefties in Major League Baseball, going toe-to-toe on opening day, which is fantastic. But I can see it. You're building on last year. Hey, just happy to be here, right? Last year, not the case this year. If they get back there, they're looking to do some damage.
The Tigers kind of like the Lions in a marquee game to start off a season when they were this perceived team on the come-up. Detroit and L.A. from the Ravine today, a little bit after 4 p.m. Local time there in L.A., a little bit after 7 p.m. Eastern. Tarek Skubal and Blake Snell now making his debut in Dodger Blue. And Donnie, just to speak to the strength of the Dodgers, Snell and the Dodgers against the reigning American League Cy Young winner in Tarek Skubal, minus 168. Out of 162 games, if the Dodgers are an underdog more than 10 to 12 times, I think we would be absolutely shocked. Let's look at a win total bet that we like, DRS. Maybe trying to find somewhere in the weeds, not a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees to get to 100 wins, but maybe more middle of the pack around MLB. What team gets your attention?
You could lose around 90 games for this team and still hit their team total. That's the value I'm looking forward to. And understand this, too. A lot of plague around the Oakland Athletics for the past couple years, and even for the players themselves. You're playing in a home stadium where you know is not going to be your home stadium, one of the worst stadiums in the entire Major League Baseball, where your fans are very apathetic towards your franchise because they know you're moving here. You get out of there. Now, I'm not saying you're going to a home field advantage in Sacramento, but where you are going is to a ballpark that you can actually deliver the goods on offense and be a positive as opposed to be a negative where you're playing in 55 degrees at night, extra foul territory. The reason I bring this up is I like the lineup for the Oakland Athletics, and my team total is going to go over 71.5. And here's the reason why. Sometimes you have to look at projections of the lineup to see how they are going to do. Now, again, as I just told you, one of the toughest hitting ballparks in baseball, one of the best pitchers ballparks was in Oakland. That's no longer the case now. Heat and humidity will start to creep in there in Northern California, which didn't in the Bay Area. But look at the anticipated lineup. Lawrence Butler, projection, 26 home runs. Brent Rooker, 39 home runs. Get to know that name. J.J. Bleday, 24 bombs. Langoliers, 26 home runs. Soderstrom, 22 home runs. That's just the first 5 in that lineup. It's almost like a rebirth for the franchise. Now that they're not in Oakland, the team started to spend a little bit more money in the offseason, knowing they got to have a pretty good team on the field by the time they hit Vegas. 71.5, 72 wins here. Come on now. I'm going to buy the Athletics this year, who only go by the Athletics this year.
Yeah, no Oakland, no Sacramento, just the Athletics. And speaking of that guy, DRS, Lawrence Larry Butler, as we will call him here, he's an absolute stud, and he got paid by the A's to be a cornerstone of that franchise. I love the look. A lot of young talent, like you mentioned, in that starting lineup 1 through 9, but also back into the bullpen. Mason Miller might be the best reliever in the American League, with all due respect to Emmanuel Clase. Mason Miller can absolutely hurl. I also kind of like to look in the 70s. It's what I learned from our MLB insider in Craig Mish. So I'll go to a team maybe under the radar in the National League Central. Give me the Cincinnati Reds, also with a great superstar in Ellie De La Cruz. They got 77 wins last year, did Cincy. They had 82 the year before. They've been a team that's kind of middle of the pack, maybe looking to make that run toward playoff contention. I think the Reds might have something to say. They added Gavin Lux, Austin Hayes this offseason, Brady Singer, a reliable starter from Kansas City, and Hunter Green, bona fide ace and an all-star last year for the Reds. I'll go Cincy over 79.5. Why not? And Donnie, for both of our divisions, a little bit up in the air. Not exactly that front runner like the Dodgers in the NL West. Plenty more in our pick 6 next. Let's go individual now as we get you ready for the MLB season in 2025. We've given you a World Series champ, a pennant pick, and of course, a win total to the over that we like. Let's talk awards. And Donnie, normally you would think, okay, MVP, Cy Young, where are these guys going? A lot of awards now. Manager of the year, reliever of the year, rookie of the year, comeback player of the year. Who gets your attention, DRS, in this pick 6?
Absolutely. We're going to Mike Trout here. And by the way, back in the day, Ben's dad, if you guys didn't know, would take him to Disneyland, roll him right over there to see his favorite team, the Los Angeles Angels, because their home base was Orange County. So having said that, I figure I'll bring Ben into the equation and go with his hometown team here. It's the Angels. And it's Mike Trout having a very good spring training. Now, we understand he could hit 7 home runs in the month of April, slide into second base, and we won't see him again for the rest of the year. There is that option. But I'm figuring with a big name that has a really good season and a good guy overall that the press loves, how can he not win this award as the comeback player of the year by just having a solid season? It's Mike Trout. The only thing that might cloud this vision, if this Trout is too damn good, as his 16-1 price for an MVP, because you're not going to get comeback of the year and be the MVP. You're not getting both of those awards, so he needs to have a good award, but not too good for me then.
I do believe in Joe Frieso, producer extraordinaire, correct
Has
me
somebody
if I'm
done
wrong.
that?
Chris Sale won NL Cy Young and comeback player of the year last year, right? He did.
But MVP, Sale, I think maybe MVP will be a little bit different, though. Like that sort of higher up. Like, we can't give him this because that's almost like a slap in the face as a comeback of the year. So you just give him the MVP. Because it's like MVP where I'm the quarterback MVP of the league, but I'm not the best overall offensive player. Like, that's what I'm figuring.
Who's got the second best price to win American League comeback player of the year? That would be Jacob deGrom. I could see it, DRS, like if deGrom is great and Trout is great, but still, I like the look for Mike Trout. My concern is not if he's so good he wins MVP, but just he plays 63 games. The Angels have won 19 of them, and they're like, see ya. Or, hey, let's just sit this down once again. The most compelling career maybe in Major League Baseball history. 3-time AL MVP winner, something of the sort, ridiculous for Mike Trout. They have moved him, though, to right field, DRS, to hopefully make him less injury-prone from center field and have him there for the long haul. The Halos are an interesting team. Not my hometown team, but a good joke by DRS nonetheless. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I will always say that for Artie Moreno. My award, also a guy on the comeback, Spencer Strider. 22-1 to win NL Cy Young. Of course, the elbow injury last year that shelved him after just his second start. But, Donnie, if you remember, and you look around the Cy Young Award now, of course, Paul Skenes is the very, very short favorite. It was Spencer Strider for Atlanta as the super short favorite a season ago before he got injured. And he is on track. Is Strider to be back in Atlanta's rotation maybe in just a few weeks by the middle of April or late April? I'll take a 22-1 price on Spencer Strider to win National League Cy Young Award.
Yeah, those make me nervous, those type ones, coming back from the injury, because it's not so much because it really is an award that's based on how many innings, how many strikeouts, and obviously, what your ERA technically would be. So for me, if he's coming back and he pitches 5 innings, but he's going 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, that's a really good ERA, and then maybe stretching him out over the summer. But then again, that's why Spencer Strider's not sitting there at a plus 250 price or plus 350 price, because you are benefiting, or not benefiting, I should say, from getting that start of the season where, hey, he's 5-0 with 2 complete games and 1 million strikeouts. They'll ease him back into the rotation, but things are going to help him, the extracurriculars. We expect the Braves to be really good this season. He's going to be a big part of that rotation, pitching in big ball games in August and September, where we saw Paul Skenes enter in the equation midway through the season and almost win the Cy Young. So something like that can help you out at a much better price point.
And there are going to be some good prices out there in the NL Cy Young market because Skenes is such a favorite at 2-1. By the way, Buster Posey of the San Francisco Giants won NL MVP and Comeback Player of the Year in the same season in 2012. So not a bad bet
there you go.
On Mike Trout. Home run leader, DRS, who hits the most dingers in 2025 around the bigs.
Yeah, there's a lot of good options here, but here's what you want to pencil in. Where does the player play? How many at-bats is he going to get? Will he be healthy for the season? And for me, it's Kyle Schwarber, the Philadelphia Phillies, at a 10-1 price. There's a good chance that he hits 40-plus home runs, which puts you right into the mix here. It's a guy in a ballpark that heats up in the summer, that can get hot. Let me see what happens here for the Philadelphia Phillies. I went Schwarber at 10-1.
DRS, is he still in the leadoff spot for Rob Thompson and the Phils, or are they moving him back?
Yep.
Okay.
I believe he is going to start there. So, no, I don't like it.
No, you don't. Okay.
For the bet, it's great. For me as a Phillies fan, 3-run home runs are much better than solo home runs to start. I'm just going to say that, Phillies, and I'll leave that there.
We'll continue the Pick Six, round it out, and then look at the games on opening day. All of that next. Let's tidy up this 2025 MLB campaign Pick Six. We've got 2 more spots to look. Home run leader, Donnie going with plenty of Schwarbombs this year in Philadelphia. Kyle Schwarber, 10-1 price, 3rd best number around the bigs. And Donnie, much like in the MVP markets or even those World Series numbers, because of the Dodgers, when you have such short favorites as Aaron Judge, plus 270, who led, of course, the major leagues last year in home runs, and Shohei Ohtani, you can find some value. I'm trusting in our home run prop king, who will join us in just a little bit. That's TV Tom Vecchio. In terms of what he said now nearly a month ago, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 40-1 price in a career year to lead Major League Baseball in homers. Vladdy Jr., now a 31-1 number. Contract year for the Blue Jays. And, of course, Vladdy trying to put on a statement for what they will see. And, Donnie, part of the benefit, they'll play 13 games this year against the Rays in the minor league ballpark there in the Sunshine State. So I like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at a 31-1 number, but I did have the advice of Tom Vecchio, so bet it when it was 40-1.
Yeah, it's a good look here, too, because Anthony Santander comes over from the Baltimore Orioles, which, as you know, last year hit 44 home runs. So what that means is some protection for Vladdy, where you can't just walk him to get to Santander. You got to pitch to Vladdy. So that should help him out there. And again, we talked about this before. Boston, small ballpark. New York, small ballpark. Toronto, small ballpark. No longer Tropicana Field, small ballpark with the same dimensions of Yankee Stadium, played outdoors in the heat and humidity in Tampa down there. It's a great look for the division, because sometimes it's not how many home runs you can hit, it's where you hit those home runs, and those are great ballparks to do it in.
Yeah, absolutely so. DRS, let's tidy out this Pick Six by talking about Paul Skenes, who was on the bump today for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Skenes Day 24 officially. Will it happen today? Might it happen throughout a full 2025 campaign for Skenes? Will Paul Skenes throw a no-hitter? Yes or no, Donnie Rightside?
By the way, I voted no, just to be contrarian, but is there a price point on this at this point? Because
no-hitters, find it. Was looking for it myself.
Yeah. They're hard to come by. Even how great a pitcher you are. You see some of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball history don't have no-hitters. But it does seem like if there's a perfect match for a no-hitter, it would be Paul Skenes pitching in a pitcher's ballpark in Pittsburgh when he's full throttle sometime this summer. I just went no to be contrarian, to say, you know what? It's still hard to do, and I'm going to say when most people say yes, I'll say no, considering I probably would have a plus money price on a no-hitter to the no.
Which is crazy, DRS.
Yes.
I was going to say the same thing. Yes. If there was an actual wager, it would probably be yes in minus money. Would it be minus 500? No. Might it be minus 128 or something higher than that?
Yeah.
Absolutely so. I did say yes And the reason I said yes is, one, I like to buy into the narrative. Two, I think Paul Skenes is super, super good. And three, last year he had 2 starts of 6 innings at least where he did not allow a single hit to the opposition. And of course, they were trying to groove Paul Skenes to get ready for his Major League Baseball season and career. I think this year, if he's got 6 innings of work and he hasn't allowed a base knock just yet, they would let him go the entirety of the way for the Buccos, who are in action today, DRS. Part of the marquee games we will see around Major League Baseball. A great pitching matchup expected in South Florida. Skenes gets the opening day start for Pittsburgh, of course, on the road against Sandy Alcantara and his return for the Miami Marlins, the 2023 NL Cy Young winner, or 2022, at least a Cy Young winner at some point for Alcantara. He and the Fish take on Paul Skenes and the Buccos today.
Yeah, it should be a fun one to watch. And I do like if you look at the first 5 innings, I believe earlier today, the FanDuel Sportsbook had it listed like 3.5 with a little bit of juice there. I don't know if we get 4 runs over the first 5 innings because I do think Skenes, look at the lineup here for the Marlins, by the way. And God love you, Marlins. If there's any 1 or 2 fans of you guys left out there, Xavier Edwards, Dane Myers, Griffin Conine, Jonah Bride, Matt Mervis, Otto Lopez, Kyle Stowers, Nick Fortes, and Derek Hill. That's your starting front 9, or starting 9 today for the Marlins. I mean, contraction, baseball, hello at this point. I don't know where they're going, but I don't think they're going to score many runs today. But those 2 pitchers on the mound, they should deal in that ballpark.
2022 NL Cy Young. Sandy did not pitch last year for Miami. And can we get a final clarification from our own Craig Mish? I know he's talking right now. I think he is still talking, getting ready for his show with his Newswire producer, Frank. Is it Alcantara? Is it Alcantara? Can we make sure that we get a final confirmation on that pronunciation?
Definitely not
just
Alcantara.
To make sure.
So there you go.
It's not Alcantara. It's not Alcantara, as somebody once tried to say. DRS, as we get ready for the rest of MLB on this opening day, our very first game of the day, 3:06 p.m. Eastern Time. Not in warm weather, but not in terribly cold weather. It's supposed to warm up throughout the day here in the greater New York City area. That is up in the Bronx, inside Yankee Stadium. Carlos Rodon gets the start for the Yankees because of Gerrit Cole being on the shelf the entirety of the year against the Milwaukee Brewers and Freddie Peralta. The Yanks a -146 favorite at home. DRS, what is your outlook for the Pinstripes without Gerrit Cole the entirety of this regular season and beyond?
Solid ball club, but not for me, where it's one thing to be the favorite in the AL to win the pennant and a legitimate chance for a World Series. It's another to be at their price point where they sit, because I look at their starting 9 and say, well, we love Aaron Judge, and I think Bellinger can have a rebirth there with that short right field porch, which, by the way, is blowing out to right field today. Maybe we get some extra home runs there in a total that's only listed at 7.5. But I look at the rest of that lineup, very underwhelming. Starting pitching staff, very underwhelming. I don't know if it's just the Yankee taxes are the favorite, but they're the same talking points, Ben, that we have in the American League. It's not a very strong American League, top to bottom, where a lot of teams are going to be able to chase down teams like the New York Yankees. So for me, I don't have high optimism, to be honest, on the New York Yankees.
Donnie, to be completely honest with you as well, I'm not entirely sure why they are still booked as the American League pennant favorites. There's a lot of talent on this team, but when you lose your bona fide ace in Gerrit Cole, I really think that should make a move against you. And what other moves did the Yankees make this offseason? They added Cody Bellinger, right? They missed out on Juan Soto, and that was basically it. Now, they do have a bona fide ace in the American League Rookie of the Year, and our guy Luis, don't you dare call him heel for the Yanks, and he'll have to step up this year, but I don't know.
He's already on the IL,
it's
too.
Good, is he? Yeah, 60
I think he was having shoulder issues. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Yeah, look at that BWS. Come on now. Where's Vecchio right here? Let's talk some real baseball. What's going on here?
Yeah, I know. I'll take a segment off. You get a segment off to start our third hour. Let's get the Pro Baseball Today hosts doing it back and forth. DRS, other marquee matchups on this opening day. A really good one between 2 AL pennant frontrunners, the Rangers and the Red Sox. Maybe your 2 AL teams squaring off today in Arlington. Big acquisition for Boston this offseason, leaving the lowly Chicago White Sox. That's Gerrit Crochet. He is now the ace for the Red Sox, but they've got a lot of great young starting pitchers. They've got Tanner Houck as well. Cutter Crawford was great to start last year, and they do add Walker Buehler if he can get back healthy. This is a great matchup today between Texas and Boston.
It is. It's really fun. And again, the tough part about it is you look at both of those lineups, which I told you I really like. Look at the total in the game. 7.5, but that's opening day. Aces versus aces across the board. The highest total on the board, I believe, is, I want to say 8.5, which is in the Chicago-Arizona game. Everything else, 7.5s, 6.5s across the board, and rightfully so. Colder temperatures, bats usually lag a little bit behind some of the starting pitchers, but then having said that, who knows what the bullpens are actually going to provide today. But the one thing you have to like about the bullpens, they're all fresh to start the season. So scoring might be at a premium today for sure, and that's what some of these numbers are letting us know. But you give me a normal Boston-Texas game where the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s are pitching, oh, we're going to have some fun this summer, no doubt about it.
Juan Soto makes his Mets debut today on the road in Houston. Framber Valdez gets the start for the Astros. Houston, a slight home favorite. Really good one between National League contenders. Atlanta and San Diego out in Southern California today. We've talked about the Tigers and the Dodgers. What a pitching duel between lefties that we have. Blake Snell makes his Dodger debut against the reigning AL Cy Young winner in Tarek Skubal, and LA still a -168 favorite. Let's get you set for opening day and the MLB season with TV Tom next. Opening day of the 2025 Major League Baseball season. Why I'm even here for these next two segments to round out this second hour is beyond me. When you've got the two hosts of Pro Baseball Today to get you set for opening day and MLB, what am I needed for? That's Donnie Rightside, and of course the man in the middle, TV Tom Vecchio. Some season-long props and that prop perspective to make sense of Major League Baseball entering the 2025 campaign. And of course some bets from the very start on this full opening day around the bigs. Vecchio, we are very glad to have you here. We appreciate the time as always.
Yeah, let's get right to it. We have two segments today to go through things. Sweet 16 later today. I'm not sure if we're going to be touching on that, but let's get the ball rolling or throwing or whatever we're going to have for opening day.
Let's start with the throwing, Vecchio. As we look around Major League Baseball, it's a great time to bet the pennant prices, the World Series odds, division numbers, win totals, so on and so forth. But from that prop perspective, you can also look season long. Home runs, of course, come to mind, but so many different other angles and so many opportunities to bet on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's start on the bump, Vecchio. If you were to highlight a pitcher you expect to be filling up the case sheet all year long, where do you look? What's the name?
Yeah, let's go to the Guardians opening day starter, and that's Tanner Bybee. It's not Spencer. It's not Shane Bieber. Bieber's on the IL to start the year, but Bybee, over 162.5 strikeouts for the season. Throughout spring training, he has like a 22, 23% strikeout rate, which is a little bit lower than what he showed last year at 25, 26%. I expect that to, improve as the year goes on. I think the innings will be there for him. But what I love most about him are two specific things. One, he is incredibly efficient on the mound. He's not giving up a ton of walks. And then his hard contact rate last year was 29%. That is so incredibly low. So he's not getting hit hard, and he's not wasting chances on the mound, which means the inning should be there for him. You can allow him to go that extra half inning, whatever it might be, because he's not wasting pitches. And then the strikeouts will be there. He is a good strikeout pitcher. He's not some flamethrower that's kind of a 30% strikeout rate, but a 26% strikeout rate will get him there if he has 180 some odd innings. So I really like Bybee. I really like what the Guardians have between him and Gavin Williams this year.
Talked about the Oakland Athletics / Sacramento Athletics, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics here, which I'm taking a look here at my team totals and saying to myself, you know what? I think this team might be able to lose 90 games and still cash a ticket to their over, which is pretty incredible in Major League Baseball. But, Tom, I know you're looking at bombs for the Athletics. Who are we including there? Who's going to be?
Yeah. Let's go to Lawrence Butler, one of their young prospects. Last year, he had 22 home runs in 125 games. He had a 228 ISO last season, which is absolutely fantastic. We got to remember, last year they played in Oakland, a completely different ballpark to where they're playing this season. So a full season this year. The ISO may regress a little bit, but we have a much better ballpark. So I said this to Donnie on Pro Baseball today, when we're talking about season-long stuff. I believe in Butler as a prospect. And if I believe he's going to go over this number of 23.5 home runs, I don't think we're going to be sweating this out for the last week of the season. I think he will be there in September. And by next year, this number is going to be up at 28 or 29.5 home runs. So if I believe in him as a prospect, I believe in his underlying metrics, I believe in all these things, plus the improvement of the ballpark factor, I want to essentially be a year early ahead of the curve. Because if this number is going to be 28.5 next year, he may not hit 28.5 next year. He just may be that 25 to 30 type of home run type of guy. But we can get the number 23.5 right now, and that's where I want to jump.
7 years, $65.5 million deal for Larry Butler to remain the face of the Athletics as they make that transition over the next 3 years to Las Vegas. Some investment this offseason by the A's in Larry, as we'll call him here, Larry Butler, expected to have a big season, over 23.5. Donnie, over 71.5 wins for the Athletics as well. Those are very much correlated for a talented Athletics team. Not something we have said quite often about the A's. Vecchio, as you look at another talented young player, now we move over to the other side in the NL. That is Jackson Merrill after a sensational rookie campaign with San Diego. What do you expect Merrill to do here in 2025?
I expect Merrill to be in the top 5 of the league when it comes to total hits when it's all said and done. You can get this number at 19-1. Again, we talked about this extensively on Pro Baseball today. The line for the Padres is awesome. If they weren't playing in the NL West, they could be a favorite to win basically any other division. Obviously, the Dodgers throws a wrench in things, but he's awesome. He doesn't strike out a whole lot. He puts the ball in play. The lineup behind him or around him is awesome, so he will always see good pitches. And again, when we look at the projections for him, if you look on Fangraphs, some of the projections will have him at 5th, 6th, 7th. Again, if you apply a little bit of variance, that could push him into the top 3 or 4. And if we're at the top 3 or 4, that's a 19-1 number doesn't indicate that he's going to be a top 3 hitter in the league. So we get this number preseason, and he's going to be there at the end when it's all said and done. We talked about this last year with Bobby Witt. We came through our 19-1. 2 years ago, we came through with Matt Olson at 28-1 to lead the league in homers. And Jackson Merrill is a player that I believe in will have a great strikeout rate, super low. He will put the ball in play. He's not going to be a massive power hitter, but the lineup around him will always put him in a good spot to pick up hits.
Talking about putting themselves in a good spot, the New York Yankees coming out of spring training quite banged up here. But as you take a look at the odds at the FanDuel Sportsbook, not holding back, 4-1 price, the best in the American League. The National League, Tom, on the opposite side, pretty clear cut probably with the Dodgers. But talk to us about the American League. Is it the Yankees for you, or is there some other team that has your eye?
It can't be the Yankees. Frankly, I think that price is there just to essentially discourage people from betting it because they're never going to hang an 8-1 or 10-1 number on the Yankees. It's also a bit of the Yankees tax. I just don't think you should be betting that number. I think you need to pick your team outside of them if you are super interested in the Orioles. It's the Royals. It's the Tigers with their pitching staff. I think Jackson Jobe, one of their young pitchers who made the roster. The Tigers have the pieces. The Royals have the pieces. I think the Red Sox will take a step up this year as well. So I don't think it's the Yankees. I think you have to pick your team. All the divisions are up for grabs. Like, that's what it is this year. Like, the Astros aren't the same team they were. I'm very interested in the Rangers this year. I think you have to pick your team and have your stance early on, and then maybe later in the season you can hedge out because I think the Royals, the Tigers, the Rangers, and the Royals, Tigers, Rangers, Orioles are the 4 teams you should be most interested in. Not like this is some dramatic hot take. Obviously, the odds are suggesting that, but you should stick with one of those teams.
30 seconds left, Vecchio. You're back for an opening day breakdown on the other side. World Series prediction from TV Tom Vecchio is what?
I would say Dodgers, Rangers. I would like to say Braves, Rangers, because that would be a lot of fun. Let's just not get the Dodgers in here. Let's have someone else.
All right, Pro Baseball today on very similar wavelengths here.
Rangers.
You love to see that chemistry that early on from co-hosts. Opening day breakdown with TV Tom next. Let's get you ready for opening day with TV Tom Vecchio. That prop perspective to begin. The long 162 in Major League Baseball. Vecchio, so many great games on this slate. 28 of our 30 MLB clubs in action. 14 of what would be a 15-game fully robust slate as well. Let's highlight some of those games and how we should approach. Both you and Donnie seem rather optimistic about the Texas Rangers, and I know DRS is rather optimistic about the Boston Red Sox as well. Plus 750 price for the Red Sox to win the AL pennant. The Rangers only a $0.5 behind at 8-1. They face off today in Arlington. The Red Sox with Gerrit Crochet on the bump, an ever so slight favorite against Nathan Eovaldi on the other side. Vecchio, what is your approach to that really good opening day matchup between the Red Sox and the Rangers?
I think we're going to see some runs. 7.5 line, I think, is fine. A little bit juice to the over at -120. I think we should be interested in both of these teams throughout the majority of the season, especially given the Rangers offense and the improvements that the Red Sox made in their pitching staff. Let's actually talk about the Rangers pitching staff with Nathan Eovaldi. He looked pretty bad in spring. And, if we actually which I did, go literally start by start in spring training and look at some of the exit velocity that he allowed. He allowed over 10 balls with 99-mile-per-hour exit velocity, many of them on about 102, 103. He did not look good. He's not a massive strikeout pitcher as he once was. And I like what we saw from Alex Bregman in spring training. So let's turn to Alex Bregman to hit a home run to start off the season. Alex Bregman's ISO in spring training was 326, which is absolutely insane. Is that going to be sustainable? No. Is Eovaldi going to give up all of these exit velocity balls well over 100? No, of course not. All these things will even out as the year goes on. But I like that Bregman's at least familiar with the park. He obviously played there many times when he was with the Astros. And we have a pitcher who's at least struggling right now. And Bregman's at least potentially starting off the year super strong. So when we have Bregman at +470 for a home run, I will start off with some offense in this game.
LA opening day, the Angels on the road to take on the real low White Sox at this point. Kikuchi versus Burke, a 7.5 total, cooler temperatures in Chicago, wind blowing in. Any looks between two of these pitchers? I think Sean Burke, again, I like to joke, the previous goalie for the New Jersey Devils back in the 1980s. I don't even know who these players are. Good luck, White Sox, this year.
Yeah, good luck to the White Sox, but actually let's take Kikuchi under 6.5 strikeouts. It was sitting at -122 this morning. I saw it at -138. The juice is moving a little bit. Here's the thing. Kikuchi is an okay pitcher, right? Last year, we saw him like a 28% strikeout rate, especially after he went to the Astros. In spring training, we saw his strikeout rate up at 29%. That's not the pitcher he was. His career strikeout rate is like 24, 25%. He's exceeding that. He's an okay pitcher. He also still struggles with walks. He wastes pitches. He lets way too many batters on for free. And I'm not saying the White Sox are some team we need to be worried about. Obviously, the White Sox are terrible, but it's the first start of the year. 6.5 is a bit too high. If it was 5.5, even like -140, we could talk ourselves into over 5.5 for a good strikeout pitcher against a horrible lineup, but 6.5 is just way too high.
When you look at Yusei Kikuchi and the Angels being a -158 favorite on the south side of Chicago, it is going to represent the White Sox this year. Have you guys seen they are a -210 favorite? -210 favorite to have the worst record in MLB this season. The win total for the Sox is 54.5. As some have already joked on opening day, the Chicago White Sox have been eliminated from playoff contention. A couple of games later in the evening hours here on the East Coast and even out in the West Coast, just two that will have their first pitch around 7 p.m. local time. In Seattle, the Mariners host the Athletics. In Arizona, it's the D-backs taking on the Cubs. Let's focus on that game, Vecchio. In the Pacific Northwest, a divisional duel between the M's and the A's. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, let's start off with Cal Raleigh for 2+ total bases at +125. He just signed the contract extension a couple days ago. We get a good plus number. He's going up against Luis Severino. Sevy in spring training was bad. Last year, allowed a .440 slugging to lefties and 1.61 home runs per 9. Cal Raleigh, great ISO in the spring. He's batting under 200. He also strikes out a lot. That is what Cal Raleigh is. Whether you look at the spring training last year, the year before, he has a ton of power. He wastes chances at the plate, but we're getting a solid plus money price on a player who just signed a contract extension. I'm buying a little bit into the narrative. And Severino plus the Athletics bullpen is not good. Will they be better than they were last year? Yes. Donnie and I agree that the Athletics are going to be a fun team this year. They're not going to be good, but they'll be fun. But I'll take the Mariners at home. Cal Raleigh, 2+ total bases, +125.
Do we know what Cal Raleigh's nickname is?
I mean, I'm not going to say it on air, but
Big Cal?
Why not? It's Big Dumper.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's his nickname.
What
It's
is
not like I said anything wrong. Big Dumper.
I just don't know the rules of what we're going to say on air.
Dumper. Big Dumper.
I like it. There you go.
Big
Hey, man, it's
Dumper.
backstop over there. Come on now. Let's go.
Hey, man. Vecchio, we appreciate you. Hour number 3 is up next.